All right, we're going to take a quick look to finish out our morning at the NBA. We've got a lot of things going on. The best team in the East looks like the Cleveland Cavaliers. Sexland is strong in the force. We've got a lot of fun things happening in the Western Conference. I have spent most of this weekend catching up on my basketball watching. Seth, here's the way we're going to do this. Before we look at some bets, so far we're going to talk about our three favorite things to watch in the NBA, our three favorite things. And I will have you start us out. Do you want me to start us out or do you want to start out?
I think you can start.
All right. So obviously I'm going to start with the team that I noted early in the season, the Cleveland Cavaliers. They got younger with the Harden trade. They just beat the Nets twice in a row.
Oh my God.
And Colin Sexton looks amazing. He looks like he took the step that everyone wanted De'Aaron Fox to take. He is just such a fast player, plays hard the entire game. His defense is really good. He's turned into a dynamic scorer. And Darius Garland has looked really good as well. This playing only a few games for the Darius Garland, the James Wisemans of the world. Only a couple college games is start to pan out for them. Maybe this is the new trend. This team looks phenomenal. I'm not saying they're going to win the title or anything like that, but they're a fun team to watch, and clearly they have the right pieces in place. They are one of my favorite teams to watch right now. How about you, Seth? What's your number one draft pick?
Well, honestly, for me, I'm going a little bit off the board here. I've had a lot of fun with the fact that Steph Curry is back.
Oh, yes. You took the words right out of my mouth.
And has been playing just at a very now Golden State. Here's the other thing. Golden State, considering no Klay Thompson, they are just out of the playoff picture in the Western Conference. James Wiseman is getting
he looks so good.
He does, and he's getting the crazy thing is he's getting really, really good on-court teaching from Draymond Green. So
he's pretty criminal though. Timberwolves didn't take him. Do we need to talk about that?
Oh no, we'll get to the Timberwolves in due time. And Curry's just balling out. Wiggins is Wigginsing, but honestly, one of my favorite players in the NBA, probably of all time. Him being back and just hitting those crazy, well beyond the 3-point line threes that he always takes is breathing life back into the NBA.
All right, I had that one, but we're not going to double up. So I'll pivot to the Tom Thibodeau Knicks.
Oh my God!
Best defense in the NBA. Phenomenal. Actually, on a serious note, I have loved Randall since his days when they were the 8th-seeded Kentucky team that went all the way to the championship to play UConn and that Napier UConn team. I have loved Randall. Julius Randle was good. He's been good for a while, but he's always been, I'm going to get my stats guy, and I'm just going to kind of be a black hole of usage rate. Now he actually fits inside that offense, and he's still a solid defensive piece. And so I have loved seeing my Julius Randle stock that I've had for just so long.
Finally pay
off. Start to gain some value. And so I have loved that team. Also, looking ahead to the bets, a solid team. If you're just looking at betting the under for whoever their opponent is, they make these games real rock fights and just slog them out. They beat the Celtics the other day by 30, and the Celtics were held to under 80 points.
Good Lord.
I know. They just slog them, and they did the same thing against the Warriors the other night too. They just slog out these games, and they make them low-scoring affairs. But I don't know, it's a bunch of guys that you haven't thought about in a little while that are fun to watch. All of a sudden, Julius Randle, Nerlens Noel, another big Kentucky name. These guys are nice to watch, and it's fun to see them win. And you know what? Good for Tibbs. Good for Tibbs.
Yeah,
you figured out how to work with young guys.
Usage rate, minutes are up, but that's a Thibodeau thing. My second pick. My second favorite thing about the NBA is that I haven't watched a second of the Minnesota Timberwolves this year. We'll continue to
not a second,
not even a highlight of And so here's the thing. You see on Twitter, like third quarter, you will see the Wolves up by like 8. And everybody knows what's going to happen. It gets to the end of the game and it's like Timberwolves blow 15-point lead, lose by 20, or Timberwolves lose by 50, or D'Angelo Russell, after playing 21 minutes in a game, is going to rest the next night.
D'Angelo Russell being the best player on this team is tough.
This team is just a nightmare. And here's the thing. There's no sign that it's going to get any better. I don't know what you do with that franchise at this point.
It's a real tough look. Just for people who don't know, and this is really tough too, because for the last, 2 years, the thing with the Timberwolves is that they have swallowed the pill of bad defense, and they've always doubled down on really good offense. Well, their offensive net rating is the very last in the NBA. The very last. And their defensive rating is 26th in the NBA. So that's tough. That's a tough pill to swallow. We can actually stay on the Timberwolves because they're my third thing that I've loved watching. Well, not necessarily the Timberwolves, but Anthony Edwards, AE. I tell you what, I don't know what he is for this team yet, but there is something fun to watch about him. He is a just pure athletic specimen. He has a ton of bounce. He's a solid scorer. Like, there will be games where he just has 23 points just burst out of nowhere. The problem is he doesn't fit into any sort of offense at all.
Shocker.
At all. I heard somebody say that he has the athletic potential to become the next Dwayne Wade. I don't think that's true at all. I don't think that'll happen. He does strike me as way more athletic Dion Waiters, where he's just like has the confidence of when he's playing the Lakers. He's just like, who's this LeBron guy? I'm the best basketball player on the floor.
Look at me. I'm the
Anthony Davis. Get out the way. And he's going to get some buckets, but he's not going to fit into the prism of the offense. And I don't think he's going to he's averaging he's only putting up 12.1 points. So he's not like a scoring fiend or anything like that, but he is still a rookie and he's getting some buckets. He'll have some high scoring games, but he's only averaging 2.7 rebounds and 1.7 assists. I don't think he's going to do too much in an offense, at least not this year. And so I don't know how that helps the Timberwolves, but he is fun to watch. He is fun to watch. And as far as coming off the bench, he is a spark off the bench. And for a team that's the worst in offensive net rating, I guess you grab any points you can get.
So I really struggle with this. Like, you look at the other teams that we have in Minnesota. Like, the Vikings had, a 7. They were very much a 7-9 team. They missed a bunch of key pieces on defense that they will get back next year. So they will be right around that, hopefully better. The Twins are continuing to kind of rise into their window for a championship. The Wild have looked really good to start the season, and they continue to build off of a really, really good draft. I don't know what the Timberwolves are, like, other than just a bad franchise. And I don't think they know either, which is the unfortunate thing.
Yeah, and again, you wonder, because that's like, it's weird stuff, like the lineup with the most minutes so far this season together is Davis, Russell, Beasley, Hernangomez, and Culver. And their offensive rating is 107.8. And their defensive rating is 115.4. And that's your most used 5-man lineup. And it's just not good. It's just not good. And you have more success with lineups like Davis, McLaughlin, Culver, Edwards, McDaniels. I guess because they're playing the second or third string guys when they're on the floor. They've only played 16 points. But you're like, what I'm saying is if you just peel through some of these stats, this team doesn't really make much sense. And there are pieces that you like. I feel like Beasley is a solid piece if he's your like fourth or maybe even third guy, but at least your fourth, fifth guy, Beasley is a nice piece. Same with a bunch of Hernan Gomez you like as your like seventh guy. And Russell you like, but I think D'Angelo Russell you like if he is your third best player, not your best player. Edwards has some fun athleticism and seems to be at least a decent offensive piece when you're sending him out on his own and just like go get some points. Edwards, we don't expect you to really play within an offense. Karl Anthony Towns, I get he's on the COVID. He had COVID, and so he's on the COVID list. He's been out. Although after those first two games, it's not like they were burning down anybody's door with Towns out. You're right. I don't know where they go from here. And if you're looking at assets, I mean, the Warriors have their next pick, correct?
Yep.
And I don't know what you get for D'Angelo Russell at this point because guess what? If you want a decent point guard who could average 23 points a night, that's out there. That's out there for anybody to get. That's out there in spades. And so I don't know what you get on return for him. I guess the movable piece right now is Towns. And so I don't know if you're starting to trade Towns and get this team off of different players for used parts, that gets to be pretty grim. And I don't know. I don't think there's a trade out there that gets them fringe playoffs in the next year.
No. It honestly feels to me like they thought that getting D'Angelo Russell and the number one overall pick would be enough to get them into the playoff picture. We're seeing that it clearly is not. But the other thing that is frustrating is so many people saying we need to give Ryan Saunders the whole season to see, and that's like just that tone. We have been doing that since Kevin Garnett left. The Timberwolves have been doing that since Kevin Garnett left. Is we need to be patient, and we're in the same spot, the exact same spot that we were when he was traded to whoever it was, Boston.
Yeah, and it's not like we're looking at a team that's middle of the road and you're looking for them to take that next step. Like if a switch flips, I don't know exactly what you're expecting this team to go from the worst in the league to middle of the road because that's where they're at right now.
Yeah,
getting better is not just absolutely floor on all of the advanced stats across the board pretty much. It doesn't get you to a fringe playoff team. I'm sorry, it just doesn't.
No. And like after a while, like you hear all the players after the game say like, you know, we're continuing to develop, we're continuing to build the culture. We still haven't we're still getting accustomed to losing. That quote is just burned into my memory, which is disgusting. But
so let me throw it to you this way. If you're going by the records right now on the 24th of January, it goes the Detroit Pistons at 3-13, the Timberwolves at 4-11. The Wizards have missed a couple of games because of COVID, so they are at 3-8. They have not played as many games as the other two teams. And the Pelicans at 5-10. Which team would you want to be the general manager of? You have to pick one of those four.
Boy, I guess I think the correct pick would be probably the Pelicans.
It would either be the Pelicans or the Wizards because you can get a substantial package for Beal still.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean
Detroit is the only team that might be sadder than the Timberwolves because their Towns is Griffin, and he is older and has had an insane amount of injuries. So they're not going to get a ton for him. The Wolves
the crazy thing
for Towns, but it's not going to fix all their problems.
Here's the crazy thing: I would rather in terms of which team's going to get it figured out first, the Pistons or the Timberwolves. I would make the bet that it would be Detroit by a large margin.
I like their coach more, but they have been swimming in mediocrity for quite some time as well.
Almost as long as we have.
It's tough. Yeah, I would rather be the Wizards because they've got some pieces, and you will get a lot for Beal. If they move him this year, you will get a boatload for Beal. He is so good.
I wonder if, considering that Klay Thompson is coming back, I wonder if Golden State makes a play for Beal with the Timberwolves pick.
I don't know. I feel like Washington would want Wiseman too, and I think it feels like they genuinely like Wiseman a lot.
Yeah, if I have to part with Wiseman, if I'm Golden State, I don't make that deal.
Yeah, you know who would be perfect? I don't think they'd ever move him, but you know who'd be perfect for Golden State right now if they want to make a push? Jaylen Brown. He's averaging his best points and 3-point shooting of his career this year, and he's a great defender.
That'd be gross.
Defender. I would also, you would never be able to find me again. If Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum ever get traded off the Celtics, just continue on the podcast without me. You're not finding me.
Well, you don't have to worry about that because Boston is actually good.
They are good, but I'm just saying, like if they a couple of years ago, I know this sounds crazy, but a couple of years ago, if Anthony Davis had, or not like a year and a half ago, if they had actually pulled off the Jason Tatum for Anthony Davis trade, you would never have found me again. You can't fix a broken heart, Seth.
Clearly not. I have one final NBA thing because we kind of just went Timberwolves, my Timberwolves as 2, your Timberwolves as 3. Somebody's got to rescue Zach LaVine.
He's been a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah,
it's been a lot of fun to watch.
I
bet things. Speaking of Zach LaVine, because they're playing pretty hot. I wanted to go over some teams that are hot right now. And so if you look at like Zach LaVine is one where if you go over points, depending on who they're playing, they're not playing today, so that I don't have any props, unfortunately, for the Chicago Bulls. But if you go over on Zach LaVine points, I don't think you'll be disappointed. Atlanta Hawks. Trae Young has been hot. Just dropped 43 on the Timberwolves. Go over on points for him. Some hot teams, like I was saying, the Knicks. If you go under on Knicks points, I think that's a pretty solid bet. Cleveland Cavaliers, they're a hot team right now. They're playing the Boston Celtics plus 5.5. I'd take that. I'd take the Cavs. You look at Knicks playing Portland later today. You can bet against, although that's a tough one because CJ McCollum and Damian Lillard are averaging like over 50 points a game together. But those are just some things I'm noticing. If you're going night to night on the NBA, some trends that you can pick up on.
I will bet against the Timberwolves every game for the rest of the season.
You're not gonna make much money off of that because guess what? Vegas isn't betting on the Timberwolves.
Like,
just roll over, put like 2 units against them every single day.
Add a 0 to that, and you're more in my wheelhouse.
200 units. I love it. All right,
20,000 units. The Timberwolves played a lot of games.
Wow, I can't believe they won tonight. I will never financially recover from this.
Shout out Joe Exotic.
Couldn't get the pardon.
I know they had the limo and everything ready for him. Just
I love the idea of his lawyers just like sad George Michael music, like walking back into the limo and having it drive up.
That's all we got for today for Hit Me Again. You can look for the video breakdowns that we had for the AFC and NFC title game, as well as some of our NBA chatter as well. That'll drop with the podcast at miniice.com. We'll see you next week.
We won't be late again. There's no inauguration, so we won't be late again this week. We'll have a timely podcast this time around. Thanks for sticking with us, folks.